What is going on, everybody? Welcome back to the channel. Unfortunately, I can't go live tonight. I'm going to be traveling, but I wanted to drop this quick video, give you guys an update on this little Bitcoin bounce. As we're getting a push to the upside, we do have some signs that we could see a continuation up. So I'm going to cover all the key levels, the major resistance above that we need to flip into support in order for Bitcoin to dodge this bearish bullet that we have been seeing play out over the past couple of weeks. So I'm going to break it all down for you guys in a super simple and easy to understand way. So without further ado, let's go ahead and jump on into the charts. Let's get into it. So guys, here we are on the Bitcoin chart, and as you can see, Bitcoin getting a little bit of a pop up here to our previous highs, currently sitting at about $103,688. But I'm going to start here on the higher time frames, guys, because Bitcoin is in a very sticky situation here. We are clinging to this 50-week moving average. Now, as you guys know, this is the major level that we must stay above if we don't want to start questioning if the top is in here at $126,000. We must hold on top of this 50-week moving average. We've covered this level a million times in the past, and we have swept it. And of course, as we've been talking about, sweeping below this and closing the weekly candle above is not going to be that bad. But if we end up closing this weekly candle below the 50-week moving average, guys, this is going to be a much more bearish signal for Bitcoin, leading to a potentially bigger move to the downside. So this is the moment of truth, guys. You can see we are right on top of that 50-week moving average. This is the first major macro key level of support, and very specifically, we want to see that weekly candle close above this level. So all eyes on that weekly closure this weekend. Now, if we take a look at this from our macro volume profile perspective, of course, guys, this $108,000 level was our initial key support. As long as we were able to stay above this level, we had the doorway open to new all-time highs. We then saw this happen. We got the new all-time high, swept the highs, shorted that sucker all the way back down, and it's the same old story, right? We've covered this so many times. You get the bounce, you get the bounce, you get the bounce, right? But what we did not want was a breakdown below this level, right? Because once you get deep into this range, on the move to the upside, this now puts major resistance above us. Even if we hold that 50-week moving average, you still have this $108,000 level, which in my opinion still is the level to get above in order to look for the continuation up into new all-time highs. I would say as long as we get above this level, you know, it could reopen the doorway to new all-time highs. At that point, you're above your 50-week moving average, right? And if that weekly candle closes above, right, that would be very nice. But even if we see that, you're still going to have this major $108,324 resistance above you. This is always going to be major resistance when you're below, right? We could come up here. We do not want to get a big rejection from this level. If we do, it could indicate that we're getting accepted into the larger range to get our bigger move down towards our key level of support that we've been watching forever, sitting at $96,633. Now, on the flip side of that, of course, with every key level of resistance, there is an opportunity to break above it. And I will just say, because of how important this support is, guys, flipping that into support could be a very nice sign for Bitcoin to at least get a much bigger retracement to the upside, potentially pushing us above $116,000, which we obviously have a lot of liquidity sitting above, right? We have the liquidation heat map here. You can see that hotspot of liquidity sitting right above those highs at about $116,265. And that pushes all the way up into about $117,400. So without getting ahead of ourselves, if we hold that 50-week moving average, things are looking decent. And I'm going to take a look at Market Cypher B in a second to give you guys the probabilities there. But if we do push up, $108,000 is going to be absolutely massive to watch. If we could get above that, things start to look a little bit better for a potentially bigger move up to come sweep the liquidity above $116,000. Nice and simple. It's also confluent with our macro golden pocket, right? So nice, simple levels. Key level of resistance number one, $108,324. If we can get above that and flip it to support with Market Cypher B supporting with money flow coming into the green, we could look for a continuation up towards that golden pocket, towards all that liquidity we have above $116,000, between about $116,000 and $117,400. Now, the question becomes, what are the chances that we are going to see a continuation up here? Well, if you guys watched the live stream recently, you will know as we pushed into our last key level of support here, we were hoping that we could get a hold, and I did actually take a little scalp long position down here for a push back into the 50-week moving average, which we did get. Unfortunately, I did get stopped out of that position, but I had already taken profit, so I got stopped out in profit, made money on that move. No big deal. But the reason I was saying on the live stream last night that I thought there was a high probability that I would get stopped out in profit here was because we don't have any significant confirmations down here, at least on the first touch, right? We had no bullish divergences. All we had was a little SFP. But when we took a look at our 4-hour time frame, guys, we saw this momentum wave forming, looking like it may have wanted to put in somewhat of a bullish divergence with higher lows on our momentum waves. And when we saw that red dot printing here, we said, hey, it would make a lot of sense to come in here, put in a lower low. Now, we didn't put the lows in on our wicks, but we did get them to the bodies of our candles, giving us the lower low on our price action, higher low on our momentum waves, and we now have a 4-hour bullish divergence confirmed down here, which I like a lot better than this first tap, right? This was viewed as a scalp because we didn't have any major confirmations, still made money on the move, but we did end up seeing that drop down, and the front run of this 4-hour bullish divergence that we were looking at wound up playing out almost picture perfect. We didn't push into our lower levels of support, but we do now have that 4-hour bullish divergence confirmed. So hopefully this could be the mark, right? You also have 4-hour money flow attempting to come back up here. This could be a sign that we could see a little bit more of a retracement to the upside, right? I like the bullish divergences, and on top of that, guys, 2 key time frames to look at this weekend is going to be the 80 and 90 minute. Now, I'm going to be traveling, and I will be with family this weekend, so I won't be on the charts as much as I would like, but watch this 90-minute money flow and this 80-minute money flow starting to trend to the upside. And when I see this money flow coming up, what is the next thing I like to see for a high probability of a continuation of the trend, right? Doesn't mean instant up, could still get retracements, but if I'm going to look for this money flow to cross into the green and give us a continuation of the trend, what I like to see here is that daily green dot printing at the same time. Well, do we have that playing out? Well, look at this. We do have the VWAP attempting to cross over the 0 line here. Now, we will need this to print, right? It's not printing just yet, but if we can get this daily green dot to print, guys, at the same time as this money flow crossing into the green on the 80 and 90 minute, we might be able to see this bigger continuation up. So if we could see that play out over the weekend, number one, we want to see the weekly candle closure above the 50-week moving average at $103,000. Number two, we want to see the 90 and 80 minute money flow crossing into the green with the daily green dot printing at the same time. If we can get that, I will be looking for a continuation up into the value area high of our macro range at $108,325. And even if we pull up our local range, you can see we have a lot of confluence here. There's 2 perspectives that I'm looking at here, guys. I am looking at the macro volume profile. So I know that macro value area high is key resistance. If we get stuck in here, right, you could go back down to the POC, 96,633. But even if we look at this from a local context, with our local value area above, we have a golden pocket value area low, 786, and anchored VWAP coming through between about $106,385 all the way up to $108,690. So from a local perspective, if we can see this trend continue up, this is the first area I will be interested in for some potential rejections. Again, macro value area high in confluence with these local levels, but if we can see the continuation up, we don't get the short setup, and we can get accepted into this range, guys, I would love to push into this POC, and at that same moment, we will also be getting on top of this macro value area high, which could open the door for that bigger push up to about $116,000. Trend up. If we flip this, we might be able to come take that liquidity. If we get the rejection and it is aggressive with money flow coming out, it could be pointing towards the point of control. But right now, I would say market cipher B does look like it wants to set up for at least a bigger retracement into the first key levels. But if we flip it, I'm looking up towards about $116,000. And of course, there are some local levels to look at, but I'm not going to cover every single level in this video. But those are the major targets and my overall thought process on what market cipher B looks like and where I think price is going next. And of course, guys, the question of the day, Zcash pumping, Dash pumping. Oh my God, ICP pushing to the upside. Is alt season here? Well, that's a hard question to answer, guys. I will say we have Zcash getting an absolutely monster move to the upside, even pushing above its 2021 all-time high. So this is absolutely beautiful to see on Zcash. Now, obviously, we have Dash also getting a push to the upside, not quite cracking the all-time highs, but still getting a significant move up. And then we also have ICP getting a push to the upside as well. Also, not breaking any significant highs just yet. And of course, this is off of the massive liquidation. This thing got absolutely crushed on those liquidations, and now we're just getting another push to the upside. So this is really nice to see. So what I want to do here is take a look at dominance with you guys real quick. Obviously, if you guys watch the channel, you will know we have had this level on our chart for quite some time. This is our first opportunity to get a macro lower high on Bitcoin dominance for a potentially much bigger move to the downside. But I do have to say this is not guaranteed, guys. Money flow is starting to look a bit choppy here. It's nice that we're getting the rejection we are, but 2-day money flow, we still need this to come back into the red. Hopefully we can get this to fake out back into the red. We have already spent so much time in the green. It might be time to get a fake out into the green and continue into a bigger red wave. But of course, we have to see that play out first. You already have your 2-day red dot printing. 3-day money flow also trying to cross into the green, but we're hoping that these VWAPs coming down to print these red dots can continue this pullback. And it's interesting here, guys, because we are getting this rejection from the value area low, golden pocket, 786 confluence, almost at the exact same time that we saw it happen last year in Q4. But there's a little bit of a difference here. And the difference is when we had the rejection last Q4, we were actually above our 50-week moving average, which is not something I typically look at on Bitcoin dominance, but it is actually interesting to look at. We were above our 50-week moving average. We got a rejection. We tested that 50-week moving average as support. And of course, we saw a lot of altcoins flying during that time, but we caught support on the 50-week moving average. We got the next big move up. But after we've seen this massive drop to the downside on dominance, with our high time frame money flow attempting to come out here, I know it's coming up locally, but we're hoping that's a fake out because we've spent so much time in the green. I would say the fake out is possible, but obviously not guaranteed. But the interesting thing is here, guys, literally the rejection from the same exact level at the same exact time, and on this retracement and this rejection from this golden pocket value area low, you could see this 50-week moving average is literally in that level of resistance in beautiful, beautiful confluence. So hopefully we could get accepted below this and start a much bigger trend to the downside. Again, I'm not saying this is guaranteed. We'll have to see an actual legitimate dump here. But even if we do come up, you still have your second zone of resistance you can look at up here. I wish everything was pointing in the same direction. I could see an argument for both cases here, but it is nice to see some of the altcoins move. So hopefully we could see that continue. I just want to point out, there's the key level of resistance. It wouldn't be shocking if we get a bigger dump down here. But again, now with this money flow coming back into the green, it does become a little bit foggy. And of course, with where Bitcoin is sitting in its cycle, you know, we could potentially be at the mercy of what Bitcoin does here. If we can get the retracement up, maybe we can see the altcoins continue to rally. But it's a little too soon to tell, but I'm going to keep an eye on all of this for you guys, and I'll keep you updated every single step of the way. I got to hit the road. I have a long road trip ahead of me, but thank you guys for tuning in. That's all the time I got for today's video. Watch that 50-week moving average. Pray the weekly candle closes above that level. And of course, if we could push up from there, hopefully we could flip 108K and we can start talking about some higher targets for Bitcoin. That's all the time I got for today's video. I'll see you in the next one. Frankie Candles out.
Go at the top of the class on a roll, and it's time to run it up. Yeah, you know, maxed out, put the pedal to the floor. Hey, on the road, here we go, here we go. Yeah, we winning by a landslide.